This piece is entitled Waiting for Tasso. A while back, I was trying to write a column for a magazine I worked for when I was seized with a fit of avoidance behavior. I know, I thought. I'll call my Uncle Tasso, a man I hadn't spoken to in quite a while, a man who prefers to reach out in his own time and manner, but my looming deadline overwhelmed decorum. As I punched his number into the receiver, I remembered that getting my uncle on the phone is a lot like trying to raise someone in the witness protection program. It's a long shot at best. For one, he keeps an irregular schedule. Secondly, he loathes talking on the phone unless it's a matter of last resort. And just then I recalled that he doesn't have an answering machine, so in the event he wasn't home, I wouldn't even be able to tell him to return my call. As the phone continued to ring, my thoughts drained into an unexpected pool of nostalgia. I couldn't remember the last time I'd made a phone call that wasn't routed to voicemail or an answering machine. Not getting an answer at all was even rarer than the nearly extinct busy signal. And just as I was about to hang up, the rhythm of the phone ringing on the other end hypnotized me into staying on the line. Thusly lulled, I turned on the speakerphone and settled in. As I sat there, I imagined the conversation we would have. I should tell you, Uncle Tasso is not a blood relation. Though we're both Greek, he's what's known as a Greek uncle, which is to say his relationship to me is so close as to be that of blood without any of the lineal baggage. That Tasso is coincidentally Greek only strengthens the seemingly blurry lines that connect us. He's a philosopher, a combination of Yogi Berra and Socrates. He has the heart of a lion, the balls of a second-story man, and a mordant sense of humor that betrays a generosity that he goes to great lengths to conceal from the world at large. Whenever I get him on the phone, I'm always aware that he's smoking, which is funny because I've never seen him smoke in person. I can tell because of the rhythm of his breath. The express intake of air and the resultant exhale that is so pronounced, I can almost see the smoke rings floating above the kitchen table where he sits. And he must smoke non-filtered cigarettes because of the telltale spitting sound he occasionally makes into the receiver to expel a bit of wayward tobacco. I would greet him, and he would respond as he always does, by calling me Kid. In this instance, Kid becomes a proper name, one with a history that allows for many shades, both dark and light. Uncle Tasso would ask, "How's tricks?" I would respond, "Tricks are for kids," and we would be off and running. Conversations with my uncle are a living testament to the inexplicable value of those things that derive their worth simply by being there, by existing, without ever actually being used much. Though the life of a retired elderly working-class man can oftentimes be a blank canvas in search of form and color, Tasso betrays none of that. Inevitably, the conversation would get around to my writing. Tasso would ask about my latest effort. Not wanting him to feel any pressure around the fact that I'm using him as a possible catalyst, I blithely mentioned the theme of the piece I'm writing, sowing seeds. As I do, I can hear him turning it over in his mind, the same way he tastes food when he's unsure of who cooked it. He takes another drag off his cigarette and blows out a thought. It invites a cliched response, he says. When I comment that everything begs for a trite reply, he says, "Touché." Then he retreats deeper into a thought. Finally, he counters, "Well, Kid, whatever you do, avoid agrarian references, except for this one simple question. Are you the farmer or the field?" This is classic Tasso. His question makes me feel like I've been snared in a trap that upends me, leaving me dangling until I figure out whether or not to respond, and if I do, of conjuring an answer worthy of the question. Finally, more out of desperation than cognition, I say, "Well, ideally I'm both." "Nice catch, Kid," he says, as I hear him take a last pull from his butt, signaling the end of our talk. I think to ask him the source of his latest offering of wisdom, but with Tasso, it doesn't matter. The same man who likes to quote Plato is just as apt to cite the 70s TV show Kung Fu as a source of inspiration. As always, he leaves me with the words, "Don't be a stranger," which is his way of saying, stay in touch. I don't think I've ever told him, though. I always hear it as a caution against becoming weirdly idiosyncratic. But it doesn't matter, because he never answered the phone. This conversation never took place, and still somehow I'm a better man for having been here. Good night, Uncle Tasso.